Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Janine. I'm from CentralReach. I'm here to tell you one of two ways we are showing you guys how you can possibly set up your service codes for these new telehealth services that you all are providing. And before we get started, I think it's really important to mention here that you need to reach out to your payer before you start changing anything in your account. Find out what they are requiring for telehealth and go from there. Set it up to what they are asking you. Everything that we're discussing in this webinar are all suggestions. In no way am I telling you to go ahead and make all these changes in your account. Just simply showing you what you can do, but you really should go off what your payer is requiring from you. All right. So to every option, there's pros and cons. Pros here would be that employees will not have to pick a fee schedule upon conversion, which is what I showed you in the last webinar about adding modifier groups to service codes. And the reporting and auditing can be a little bit easier for what I'll show you in a second. And the cons are a little bit much, the setup and the breakdown are much more lengthier. You're creating new service codes, you're adding them to authorizations. You might have to create a whole new authorization. You're going to update existing appointments. You're going to have to delete that service code when this is all said and done. You might have to change some authorizations back to what they were before and update any existing appointments back to the original code. So just keep that in mind when you're picking what you want to do with your service code. There are pros and cons to everything. Find out what works for you all. All right. Our agenda, we're going to go and create a new service code specific to telehealth. We are going to set it up with some rates, add a modifier just in case you need it, adding those codes to an already existing authorization, update any appointments with the new code, convert those and see what that looks like on the billing side and auditing those. And when telehealth is no longer needed, I'll show you what you can do with that service code. Right? And of course, we're going to stay safe and healthy. Let's get to it. Now, I'm not going to go through every single step. I'm assuming since you're watching this, you already are a CR user and you have some knowledge of the system. But for any reason you need help with a step, just go ahead and go to help.centralreach.com here, type in what you're looking for. Here, I looked up how to create an authorization, or you can open a support ticket by clicking your name at the top right, open a support ticket, tell the CentralReach support team what you are looking to accomplish, and they can help you out. Awesome. Let's get in it. To create a new service code for the telehealth services, you're going to want to go ahead and click this blue Add New button right here. This is going to let you go ahead and create this service code for whatever properties that you need. You'll make sure the type is what you need. The code here is whatever code, service code you're kind of duplicating. So in our case, we're doing 97151. And then in that description here, you're going to want to go ahead and put telehealth. And I recommend just putting it in all caps so it's very, very in the face of whoever is going to be scheduling these appointments that, hello, this is telehealth. Please use it if this is a telehealth service. And then behind it, you'll just go ahead and put the regular description that was originally on there in the first place. All right, and then you'll just go through having the properties the same. Again, if this is not something that you're too sure about, please go to help.centralreach.com so you can find out certain things and what they mean, such as enforce rate, calculation type, all that good stuff. In this case, we're gonna just go ahead and set this up for 15 minutes per unit. Again, this will all just depend on the payer, how they bill it out, pay for your services. So please set this up to your needs, but specifically for the telehealth, what you can do here is have this default service location set to telehealth. And what this is going to do is automatically pull this location into the timesheet for the employees. That way it leaves a little bit less error for them to either miss it or pull in the wrong one by accident. So if you want to go ahead and set that telehealth here, that'll help save time during conversion. And then just make sure everything else is exactly what you need in terms of the validation and restrictions. If your health provider does ask for modifiers, please make sure that this procedure info is set to optional and not needed. This right here is what is going to let the timesheet pull in modifiers. So just keep that in mind. And then if you have any note and form templates that you need to add in terms of session notes, progress reports, whatever it may be, go ahead and put that here as well. And save. So there are a couple of things that we're going to need to do. If you have any labels that currently go on that original 97151, please make sure you do that. Put them here. If you need to make a new label for telehealth services, make a new one. Go to our help site if you're unsure of how to do that. But we're going to go ahead and fix this error right here, which is that there's no default rates currently set up. So we're going to go do so. I'm going to click this number under the default rates column and this actions drop down. Set default rate and pick the one that you are going to enter, and then just follow the same procedure as you do always as entering a new code. I'm going to enter my rates. If you do not have an agreed rate, please make it the same as your billed rate. Super important. Do not leave blank. Do not put 0. Make it the same. And then we're going to add. So now we have our fee schedule, our default rate here. If your payer does require a modifier, go ahead and go to this gear sign here, add modifier group, fill in the information as if you were doing a regular modifier. We're just going to put telehealth here. It's up to you if you want to put the telehealth location here as well. I mean, we set it up in the service code, so it may not need to be here. It's already going to pull in, but if you need to feel comfortable that it's for sure pulling in, go ahead and set it here as well. It doesn't hurt. Enter in those modifiers, enter in the rates that they agreed for. If you don't have agreed, please make it the same as your billed. All right, now we have those rates set up, but now we need to go set our employee rates. We need them to be able to use the code. So let's go ahead and add some. And in my case, I'm doing Kelly here. Please make sure that you do not enter a client rate. If you need to use the default rate that you set, the client rate will override what you just set in for the default rate. If you need to add a modifier into your timesheets, and putting a client rate completely takes that away. So please, please, please leave that blank if it's not needed. You don't need it to save them. All right, so now we have Kelly here. We also have the option of adding adding employees by pay codes. So if you guys do use pay codes, just remember you can go here, actions, add custom rates for pay codes. All right. So now we have our service code set up. All right, we're all good there. Now we need to go ahead and put it inside the existing authorization if your payer does not provide you with new separate authorized amounts for the telehealth services. Again, this is all up to your payer. Please find out what they want before you start changing things, especially with authorizations. Once you delete something from an authorization, it will never, we can't get it back. So it's just really important that we do this all right the first time, just for less error, okay? So I went to the money sign authorizations, but there's many different ways you can get to authorizations. Choose the one you like best. That's just the way I like to do it. I'm going to go ahead and open the 97151 code over here. And in my scenario right now, Ethan was not given any more hours or units to use. He's going to still get the 1 hour, 4 units a week. So I'm just going to go ahead and add my new telehealth service code into this bucket. And what that's going to do is it's going to let them share the amount of hours. That way the utilization doesn't change. Anything that was worked will stay worked. Anything that was pending will stay pending, and it'll all count together. Just making sure that the client really doesn't go over when they aren't given any more hours. All right. So if your payer gives you a whole separate new authorization for the telehealth code, fantastic. You're going to want to go and create a whole new authorization, just how you would do regularly for, you know, a regular authorization. If you are unsure of that process, remember help.centralreach.com. Go ahead and enter in what you're looking for here, and you can get the step-by-step on how to do that. We also have webinars, so check that out. And if you really can't figure it out, something's going wrong, don't forget to open a support ticket and make sure it's escalated to our support team. But for this sake, we're gonna go ahead and have it already in this code, in this bucket. If you do need to add a new authorization for the services, it might be best to expire this valid authorization to when the telehealth services started. So let's say come March 20th, that's when this client started the telehealth services, then I would expire this to be 3/19. That way, 3/20 and on, this original authorization will not be able to be used, and you can go ahead and use that new authorization. You would just make that new authorization to start from 3/20 and then on to whatever the payer has provided you. All right. So now we have this new code, and now we need to go put it in some appointments. Just audit your appointments, okay? Go to view as grid. This is your auditing page. Just make sure that any future appointments, because some organizations do schedule pretty far out. So if you do have those reoccurring series, you come here and you really audit for those services and go ahead and make any edits as needed. So here we have Kelly and Ethan with the original 97151 code. All right, so I come in here, and a little tip, it's completely up to you guys. You can do it however you want. It all honestly depends on how you guys report your appointments, but if you wanted to, you can either create a new appointment type for telehealth, or you can go ahead and appointment name here and put telehealth, as well as whatever the original appointment name was. In this case, it was ABA therapy. All right. Now that location was already established for us in the service code properties, and we even went a step with the modifier and putting the location there. But if you do not have modifiers and you did not set it up in your service code properties, you can also put it here for the employees. So when they go to convert, it's already pulled in for them. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and delete this, and we're gonna add a new one, and we're gonna pick that telehealth here. This is why it was important to put telehealth in all caps, letting them know, hey, telehealth is right here. Please pick that, don't pick the other one. We're gonna use this, all right? Update, change. Some organizations have required reasons, some of them don't. Whatever the workflow is, just continue with your workflow, and now we're all good. All right, so Kelly here would come and look at her schedule. Now I see telehealth, cool. Now I'm going to convert and do all the necessary things. Now, if there was modifiers for your payers, you can just double check here, show modifiers, good to go. Awesome, see that place of service pulled in, fill out anything that you need to. This may look different depending on your organization and what the payers need. But in this case, I'm gonna go ahead and click save. All right, and remember, if there's any authorization errors, check with your administrators before accepting them. If you have the permission, most people won't have that permission. In this case, Kelly did, but now that Kelly has gone and converted her appointment, we can go here to billing. All right, and now we see that there is that new one with the telehealth name, and this is where that auditing comes in a little bit easier. It's really in your face, like, hello, there's telehealth right here. So in that case, this location should be 02 telehealth, which it is. You can even use this little hamburger icon right here. Click on that. You can also pick a date. Remember, I said from March 20th on is when they're gonna be using telehealth. So go ahead and do March 20th. And if any other locations here come up, such as home, office, school, you can go ahead and make the necessary changes by going here to the gear sign and edit timesheet. All right, to double check on the modifiers, either select this checkbox up to the left to select all the billing entries, or you can simply choose them one by one. Click that actions drop down and bulk merge claims. Expand those lines and see that those modifiers did pull in. Again, you may not even need modifiers. Check with your payer. You can remove or add the modifiers here as well, and then generate your claim if you're ready to bill. Now, when this is all said and done, you're going to need to do some things. If you expired that original authorization because your payer provided you with some new authorized amounts and we didn't want the employee to use the old code and we expired it, you're going to want to come here again and just make that valid. Just put that end date to be what it was originally. That way your employees can use it going on. And we're also going to delete the service code that we made. The reason we're going to do that is just deleting it completely takes it away. The employees will not be able to use it, but we're still keeping our authorization intact just because we did use it. It had some utilization on it. We want it to be on our authorization report. We wanted it to count towards the original service code that we used, just to make sure the utilization is all good. So once you delete that service code, it will not show up for the employees to use. Now, if you did use that service code to book any reoccurring appointments and you're no longer going to need that code to be used, again, come to that view as grid, take yourself off, filter for that specific service code, open up the details, and update the appointment just like we did before. All right, so we've gone through how to add it to your organization, how to add it to the authorization. You may need to create a whole new one. We went through updating the appointments, auditing the location, auditing the modifiers, all that good stuff. So you have some options. If these two webinars don't fit what your payer is asking, we do have these one-on-one Genius booths. They are HIPAA compliant, one-on-one, recorded. You have 25 minutes to go through whatever you need, but we do ask that if you do have some payer specifics, please bring all that documentation with you, bring all the information that they provide you so that we can go through it, talk it out, and set up your account to what they're asking. To get to these virtual Genius booth signups, you'll go to help.centralreach.com/training, and there's a specific button for telehealth. All right, everyone, thank you so much for attending, watching. I hope you all stay safe and healthy out there, and we'll talk to you soon.